Have you ever dreamed of finding a pot of gold, a bag of loot that could make you rich forever? I mean, I know I have. I used to dream about that way back yesterday when I was mowing the yard. In Omaha, Arkansas, that could actually happen. There's a legend of a Native American gold and silver stash just right next to Bee Creek, which is outside of town. Here in the Ozarks, there's countless numbers of legends and tales of hidden, lost, and buried treasure, whether it's from the settlers, Jesse James gang, or in this case, Native American warriors. We're going to get into this legend, but we're going to go around town here and talk to some of the locals and see if there's any merit to this story. Come on, let's check out Omaha, Arkansas. Omaha, Arkansas, that really has a ring to it. It's located in Boone County, way up in the north part of Arkansas. It had an established post office in 1873, but then was incorporated in 1936. It's more of a bedroom community now for Harrison and Branson. It's within close driving distance. A lot of people live here and commute to those towns. You know, these little Ozark towns could use a little love, so if you're in the area or traveling or whatever, stop in and spend $1. I mean, some of these little cafes, there's some thrift stores. They even have a fire department and a Dollar General. There's a farmer's market as well. That's really good. There's a population of around 130, somewhere right in there. Besides the legend, which we're going to get into in a minute, there's a couple of long railroad tunnels here. One is the longest curved railroad tunnel in the state of Arkansas. It's 3,500 feet long. None of the locals seem to know anything about the lost treasure. So I guess we're just going to sit out on our own and try to go down to the creek, and then we'll tell you about it down there. Let's go. So we set off to find the Bee Creek as best as we could, and we see this Hog Wild Adventures ATV tour service. They have ATVs, side-by-sides that you can drive. Then they'll lead you around the mountains here. I'll put the address right here on the screen, and it is minutes outside of Branson and Harrison. Somewhere out here, some gold and a couple of camp pots. It's just sitting under the dirt, waiting to be discovered. Somewhere along this creek, Bee Creek, possibly right through here, there was a treasure buried by some Native Americans who were traveling back to Oklahoma. This was in 1863, which was right in the middle of the American Civil War, right in the hottest part. But the story was told that after the Native Americans were relocated to the reservations of Oklahoma, there were some bands of natives that stayed back and said, we're not moving, or we're going to make it really hard on you even if we do. So there were these bands of Native Americans that were basically warriors, and they would attack the U.S. citizens, the settlers, and the military bases and things like that, and rob and loot. And they would take their findings back to the new Indian territory out in Oklahoma. So there was a band of 5 or so that were here. They had just gotten done with some looting out east. I don't really know where they were from. coming from. But they traveled right up this road, possibly this road right here, not this exact gravel, but I mean the trails followed along Bee Creek, which is right over there, and went back up towards Omaha. Now we're a little ways from Omaha, about a few miles. It would have been quiet just like this. If you listen, you can hear the wagon wheels rolling on the gravel, the sound of a horse snorting every now and then, the rattling planks on the wagon. That would be the only noise you could hear, probably. Along the way here, they realized that some white citizens were following them, possibly military. They were staying back a ways and not letting themselves be seen. But the Native Americans picked up on it and said, hey, you know, we're being followed. They were riding along with 3 wagons and some horses or ponies. And in the wagons was the loot. And they had 2 camp pots full of gold and silver that they had acquired with them. So after 2 or 3 days of these stealthy followers on horseback following them from behind, on the last day they're about to camp here along Bee Creek, and they realized that the followers were letting themselves be seen and not trying to hide anymore. So they assumed that they talked among themselves and said, hey, we're probably about to get robbed tonight, or worse. So they come up with a plan. They said, hey, we'll unhitch our horses, we'll bury the gold right off the road here, and we will burn the wagons and head off in the night towards Oklahoma. We'll return when everything's cooled off. We'll have our life and we can get the money and the gold and everything. So they burned the wagons. A couple of them buried the gold right next to the creek here. This is Bee Creek. And as you'll hear in a second, things didn't really go the way the warriors had planned originally. You know, the truth is, this area probably hasn't changed a whole lot, other than just the winding, twisting, turning of the creek over time. This is a conservation area here, so there's no digging for gold out here. But this is the creek. The other parts are on private land, and I see no road crossings that I can find that's not on private land, but this is the only one I could get down to the creek. Such thick woods out here. Who knows, this road right here may have been traveled by that same group on their way to Oklahoma with their wagon load of treasure. They made it a few miles up the creek before the incident occurred, so it's believed. It could have been here. The truth is, they don't really know, so that the gold could be anywhere or nowhere. It would have been a sinkhole or just a low spot in the ground off of the trail, just like this. And they buried it and they were going to come back and find it. The creek is right over there. I hear it flowing. You probably can't hear it on the mic. So after their hasty exit in the night on their horses, the Native Americans made it to Oklahoma. And from there, the story goes that all but one died in the Civil War, and the last remaining of them decided after the war that he would come back and dig it up, bring it back home. He made a trip out here and spent a while, but the land had changed so much from his recollection of it. And there were farms along the creek now, and a lot of it just looked different, and he just didn't remember exactly where it was. He looked and looked, went back home, made another trip later on, same thing. By now he's getting up in age, and he's tired, and he feels like he just lost it. There's just nothing that looks the same. He has no idea where to look. There's too many people here now that really probably didn't want him digging around out here. So he gave up, and he met a fellow who was a landowner. I guess maybe he was talking to him while he was trying to get access to the creek or something. I don't know. Said, look, I've been looking for this gold. Told him the story. He says, but I'm going back. I can't find it. Good luck if you look for it, I guess. I don't know. But he never came back. No one ever saw him again. And that man that the warrior conveyed the story to was Matthew Booth. And he later told it to a man named J.D. Rowe. And that's how we have the account. It's really undecided as to whether the tale is accurate or not. But it's been retold few times. I found this information in an article in Today in Fort Smith magazine. The writer's name is Dennis McCaslin. It was printed in September 2nd of 2024, actually. I've asked a few locals here, and they don't know anything about it. They've never heard the story. In our videos, the locals usually don't know the stories that we're asking about, so it's good that we can bring them out and tell you and keep them going. If nothing else, it's a fun tale that could have happened, and we'll never know, I guess, unless someone accidentally digs up a pot of gold out here. If you made it this far, put fish in the comments. Type FISH in the comments and let us know that you made it this far. We really appreciate you watching, subbing, hyping, commenting, sharing, and all of that stuff. Please come back for our next video and see what kind of Ozark sparks we find. There's always something weird, interesting, or fun in the Ozarks.